Hey YouTube, it's me, Brandon Colonel. The next video that I've got for you guys is just an update on what I'm going to be doing over the summer. Now, I wish that I had gotten to this a little bit sooner, which is what I'm about to tell you, but sadly I didn't think of it until now, basically. But just recently, somebody actually gave me a new sword, and it's a display piece, so don't get too excited here. But yeah, they gave me a new sword, but it was in pretty bad condition. The handle was I'll basically get out of the way what it is right now. It's an Ninjakin, which for those of you that don't know what a Ninjakin is, for one, it's this. But for those of you that think that this is a katana, there's one massive difference. First of all, the length. The length is shorter than a katana, which I've actually got a katana here for comparison. And this is another display sword. So this isn't perfectly accurate, but the size is pretty spot on. Okay. For one, the katana is a little bit bigger. Two, something that you guys have probably already noticed, this is straight. This is completely straight. There is no curve in this blade. That's one of the biggest things about an Ninjakin, is that the blade is completely and entirely straight. And they were used by ninja to basically overthrow the samurai. And it basically came down to the skill of the smiths. And there's a couple of theories on why the Ninjakin was straight and not curved. For one, there's a theory that was saying that the smiths didn't want to copy the katana, because they actually basically just wanted to say, hey, we can make it a sword of just as good a quality without using any of your stupid, overcomplicated methods. And basically, this sword was spitting in the face of the samurai, saying, "Your sword is worthless compared to ours. We can accomplish the same craftsmanship without your stupid methods." Another theory was that the smiths couldn't replicate the curvature of the katana based on exactly how they did it, which, if you guys want, I can go into basically an entire process of how a katana is made, just explaining it for myself. But otherwise, you guys can just go on YouTube and look it up. Long story short, in a katana, the reason why there's a curvature, which this applies to real katanas only, this is a fake, and therefore basically they just put it into a curved mold. But on a real katana, there's actually two pieces of steel, and on the inside is softer and lower carbon steel, whereas on the outer edge steel is higher carbon and therefore harder steel and made from higher carbon. But the softer carbon that's on the inside, when you actually quench the metal, then it's going to curve violently. And whereas the edge steel, which has a lot of carbon in it, it can't, when it quenches, it can't bend as much as it wants to. So where it naturally bends to would maybe be about here. But, well, actually no, when it would quench, it would quench together. But so the lower carbon quenches about here, whereas the higher carbon would quench about here normally if they were on their own. When you sandwich them together, the only way that they can do is bow outward. And that's where you get the iconic shape of the katana, which is the curved sword. So there's a theory on the Ninjakin saying that that the smiths of the Ninjakin could not replicate it, so therefore they just quit trying to, and therefore they made this instead. which this is actually more of a piercing tool than it is a thrusting tool. And the reason being is because, as you can see, this is perfectly straight. A slashing weapon like the katana has that curvature. You can draw it and slash at the exact same stroke. Now, although the Ninjakin is used incredibly similarly to the katana, it is its own weapon, which is one reason why I didn't try to replicate the katana style wrappings as is with this. I didn't try to replicate that with this one. In fact, I actually looked up how to do it. It's the simplest thing in the world. I could have done it easily if I wanted to. But I didn't try it for the sole being that this is its own weapon. I should keep true to what the weapon is. And for all the Ninjakin that I've actually seen, they don't have a katana style wrapping, which kind of leads me to believe that they really did just simply try to spit in the face of the people wielding a katana, basically all the samurai and the makers of the katana. They really made this into its own weapon. They purposely had a scabbard that was longer, so that way, for one, you would actually confuse your opponent. They would be expecting this massively long sword, but in reality, the entire completely blue part here would be completely empty. Now, this scabbard is basically fit to match the length of the sword, but in an actual Ninjakin sword, from here to here would be empty, but it would be filled with things, well, not empty, but it would not be filled with a sword, but it would actually be filled with the tools that the ninja would be using to fight his opponent, such as maybe some gas grenades, something like that, the black eggs that they used, basically their version of a smoke grenade. They might be hiding poison in it, or maybe documents that they just stolen. They would hide all kinds of things in there. But that's one of the big differences between a Ninjakin and a katana, is just in the scabbard. But yeah, different things that but I'm actually restoring this. If I don't remember if I said that in the beginning or not, but yeah, I'm restoring this, which is why the handle has been completely fixed. I did not get a chance to do a before picture, so I can't really show you just the kind of state that the blade was in, but it was in a really dingy and dirty kind of state, and there was rust spots everywhere. But I took some 120 grit sandpaper, and this is the end product so far. I have not completely finished it, and it is by no means even close to being finished. I'm probably going to have about another week's worth of work into it, and I'm actually going to be completely doing the guard as well, which the guard on this has not been touched on this side. I have actually done a bit on this side, which you can see it there. It's a little bit easier to see here, but yeah, right here has been very highly polished, and but what I need to do is I need to get at least three more different styles of grits, all higher than 120, so that way I can really polish this thing up, hopefully to a mirror polish. I want to be able to see my reflection in this thing when I'm done. And this will possibly be one of my favorite swords in my collection, just for the simple fact that I put so much time and energy and effort into it, and actually a little bit of money into it to fix it. But yeah, so this is not a real Ninjakin by any standards. The edge is crap, obviously. It actually will cut something. it will cut. But if I tried it to smack this on anything, it's going to break because it's what I call a fake tang. It's basically got the exact same thing that is in my Sheffield Rogue. I took this thing apart for you guys to show you, which I actually Loctited this, but yeah, this knife, it's got what I refer to as a fake tang, which it's got about that much of an actual tang, and then they weld on a rod in order to give it just a little bit of extra strength. I don't like that. I think that's a piece of crap idea. But for a display, this which is exactly what this thing is. This is through and through a display. That's exactly what they did. So if I try to swing this thing, it's going to break completely, entirely, without a shadow of a doubt. That's exactly what's going to happen. But like I said, display only. Yeah, so I'm really going to put some work into this thing, and this is going to shine when I'm done with it. But yeah, so I need to get some higher grit sandpaper, and I'm also going to see if I can't get some more blue paracord, so that way I can re-wrap this and make this look just as nice as the rest of it. But yeah, so this is definitely got to be upgraded a little bit. If I really felt inclined to do so, then I would actually see if I couldn't maybe get somebody who knows what they're doing to make me a new sheath. I wouldn't really pay all that much money for it, but seeing as I'm still going to kind of do a little bit of work to it myself, but I would definitely pay a little bit of money to fix the sheath up a little bit. But yeah, that's basically what's going on with this one, which I've actually basically started the same process on this, basically just restoring the blade, because being the first sword that I ever owned, this is the first sword that I ever owned right here. I actually tried to sharpen it because it's always been a lifelong dream of mine to sharpen a katana, and I ended up putting a lot of scratches in this thing that did not want to come out. They still haven't completely come out, but yeah, so I'm going to completely finish this thing up. And this thing, I am hoping to get a fine, complete and total mirror polish. And this thing will definitely be hanging on my wall the second that I get it done. But the Ninjakin will be right beside it, if not above it, because of just how much work I'm putting into this thing. I mean, you have no idea just how bad of a state the blade was in. I mean, it was dingy, dirty, rust everywhere. And I'm putting quite a bit of work and effort into this thing. I'm also going to see if I can't smooth down the edges a little bit, so that way it's a little bit more comfortable gripping it. But yeah, another thing I was wanting to tell you guys about was what I was saying earlier, what I'm going to be doing over the summer. I told you guys before that I was planning on buying 2 knives over the summer with the money that I'm going to be getting at my job. Well, it doesn't really look like I'm going to be getting the amount of money that I need, and even if I do, I probably won't be going back to college with the money that I should. So, I mean, I would have to. Got the hiccups now. Why do I always get the hiccups during in the middle of trying to film something? Well, as I was saying, basically the amount of money that I would need in order to comfortably buy these 2 knives and be able to still go back to college with a reasonable amount of money, I would need $1,200 to $1,500, somewhere in that price range. I'm not entirely sure or even confident at all in my ability to make that price. I just don't think that's even possible. So, what I'm going to do instead is one of the knives that I was planning on getting was a Rick Hinderer XM18. That's not falling through. So, well, actually, I should say that is falling through because I'm not getting it. So, the possibility of what I still might get is the Benchmade 300 Axis Flipper. There's a possibility that I could still get that one. But that one, I'll really have to wait and see about that to see if it's still a possibility at the end of the summer. Because I'm really going to wait and see towards the end of the summer to see just how much money I have left and if this is really what I want to buy. But so, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a katana. The katana is the original blade that got me into liking all things blades in the first place. And bear with me for 1 second, I've got to plug in my computer. Okay, I'm back. But yeah, so as I was saying, the katana is what originally got me into basically all things blades. I've been interested in knives ever since I saw my first katana. And this is the first sword that I've ever owned. Surprise, surprise. It's a freaking katana. And I was happy as could be when I finally got this thing in my hands. And I was just happy as a little clam. But, I mean, ever since I was old enough to walk and talk, I had toy katanas. And I loved them to pieces because I had a katana. And in my mind, whenever I swung that thing, I was leveling armies. I mean, I was thrilled. And mind you, I was 4. Like 3 or 4 years old. But, that was foreshadowing what was to come. The love of knives. Even in my pajamas right now, I've still got a knife on me. And obviously, I've got 2 swords by me. Which, actually I've got 3 because I've got a saber. But, I've tried to film this thing like 4 separate times. And YouTube wouldn't allow it at the point. Something weird was going on. And at one point in time, I fit this in there somehow, and I don't even remember how I did it. So this is making a guest appearance based on the merits that I did it before. Don't remember what I did. Sorry. But yeah, so the katana has always been a really big part of my life. Well, I guess I can't say really big, but it's always been an important part of my life. Like I said, the katana is the original thing that got me into liking blades in the first place. The first knife in general that started the addiction to buying knives is the Gerber Paraframe, the mini version. The Gerber Mini Paraframe. That's the original knife that got the addiction started for me. And the first knife that I actually collected was the Blackjack Knives Spring Assist. And it's really low quality, but I have it still because it's the first one that I truly collected. And it's the one that really made an impact on me as far as collecting goes. So, but yeah, the katana was truly what started it all, and I didn't even realize it until recently. But so yeah, I'm going to get a true blue, genuine Japanese katana. Well, I guess I can't really say Japanese because I don't really know where it's coming from. But but I'm looking at the Musashi Forge. Um, don't really know where exactly they're stationed at. They may be Japan. I don't know. But the ones that I'm looking at, I'm kind of caught between two of them. I'm buying them off of TrueSwords.com, and I'm going to be getting one of these two. The first and foremost that I'm looking at is the Musashi White Falcon. Upsides to that, it's different. It's not really like any other katana that I've seen before. I don't really see too many white katanas, and for the most part, they're usually black or blue, um, or some other kind of really noble color. Haven't really seen too many white katanas. So this one just stands out. It's something different that I haven't seen before. But it also has been folded to the point where it has over 4,000 layers in it. And it's folded Damascus, so yeah, that thing's going through whatever I put in front of it. That thing is going to work. And the other katana, it just simply says Musashi Damascus. If you guys want to look up these two swords, they're both $200 or less. I think the White Falcon is $199. The Damascus is which like I said, they're both folded Damascus, but the Damascus one, it just simply says Musashi, I think like Musashi Elite or something like that. Damascus something. But that one I think is like $179. So they're only $20 apart, but both of them look really good. The benefit that the White Falcon has, though, is that it has a true Hamon line, whereas the Damascus version, although the blade looks a lot better, it doesn't have that Hamon line, which is a bit of a downside for me. But on the upside, the handle and the scabbard look really cool because they do have that all black feel to it, and it looks really amazing. And the blade, I'm pretty sure that it's actually been acid etched, so the blade itself is really amazing. I mean, if nothing else, it's a work of art. But as all katanas are to me, honestly. But this is really something else. But yeah, so I'm kind of leaning towards the White Falcon because for one, I can feel better about using it for the simple fact that that it's not quite so ornate, and I want to be able to use it without crying about it later. So I'm trying to say that I bought a katana so that way I could use it, and then I'm crying about saying that I scratched the Damascus finish. I don't want to have to do that, so I am kind of leaning towards the White Falcon. But yeah, so they're both different and unique in their own ways, and there's a possibility that I might crack and just simply buy both of them and actually completely scratch off the table even the possibility of getting the Benchmade before I go back to school. So either way, the I'm basically going to be spending about $300 this summer either way, and so it just depends on whether or not I want to get two katanas, or if I want to decide on one of the katanas and then um, the Benchmade. But no matter what, the Hinderer is out of the picture, and this will definitely have to hold me over for a while longer. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to, but looks like I might. Maybe I can convince somebody in the military to buy it for me. No, that would be cheating. They actually have it. They actually have it plastered on their website saying, and if you have a military ID, don't buy it for somebody else, because that is really frowned upon. They basically have that plastered all over their website. So yeah, that would be cheating if I did that, because otherwise I would have totally asked at least 3 people in in my church already. Um, I would have already asked them if they hadn't posted it on their website. So I'll respect that, and I won't have somebody else buy it for me for the price that he sells it direct, and I'll buy it myself. But yeah, so this will have to tide me over. But yeah, go and check out TrueSwords.com though. If you're in the market for either an interesting fantasy knife, fantasy sword, fantasy gear, stuff like that, they've got it. And they do have folded katanas for really, really good prices. I mean, like I said, over 4,000 layers, and the more expensive one is only 200. I mean, sure, not everybody has $200 to be throwing around, but when you're talking about good katanas, $200 isn't all that bad. 200 is actually pretty daggone good. So, yeah, go and check them out. You can also maybe look at Cold Steel. The Warrior series I've heard is amazing. The Dragonfly. By what I've actually heard about the Dragonfly, they're boasting upgraded materials, but by what I've heard about it, it's not really all that much better. In fact, they actually say the balance is actually worse. And the person who I was watching actually said that the grip was kind of off, but like the cord wrapping, as is with this, is really loose. But then again, this is $20. Can't exactly expect a work of art for $20. But yeah, so you get what you pay for. But yeah, so go check them out. Maybe look at Cold Steel, but definitely look at TrueSwords.com. They've got some really amazing stuff for really, really affordable prices. So yeah, go and definitely check them out. But yeah, so that's basically all that I've got to say. So as always, YouTube, stay safe.